Thank you all for coming out. Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Camille Marcotte, and my research looks at social media and national parks, and specifically qualitatively examining the messages that national parks are posting to social media. So many of you are probably familiar with social media. It's what brings us funny and relatable memes like the one on my slide. But essentially, social media is individuals and groups that are creating and sharing content on publicly accessible platforms. And so that includes things like social networking sites, Facebook and Instagram, which is what I'll be looking at. And so I've been #obsessed with social media ever since my friends made me create a Facebook profile back in 2005. But I became really interested in social media and its intersections with natural resources management and tourism and recreation when a swimming hole in Southern New York, where I used to live, saw a dramatic increase in visitors almost overnight. And so the State Department of Environmental Conservation was really struggling with how to manage that site, and they sent out this press release saying, here are the new rules and regulations and how we're going to be managing the site. And they listed social media as the main cause for why this dramatic increase in visitors happened. And so that got me really thinking about how agencies can be impacted by social media as communication, but also the flip side of that and how agencies might themselves be using social media to communicate. So that leads me to national parks and the National Park Service. So national parks are these unique, iconic places that are historically and culturally important in our country. And many national park sites have actually recently adopted social media and been using it for communication. So national parks are really reinforcing ideas about what we value as a place in this country. And so part of that is done through their communication, and I'm specifically going to be looking at their social media communication. So not many studies have really looked at social media and national parks. One recent study that did looked at virtual visitors to Yellowstone National Park's Facebook page. And what they found is that over 90% of the virtual visitors had also visited the park itself. And so these people had some type of positive experience at the park and felt some type of attachment to the park where they wanted to actively go and like the park's Facebook page, presumably to keep in touch with the park. So why study social media in this way? Why even look at what national parks are posting on social media? National park sites have very limited resources to do a lot of things with. And national parks are investing these limited resources, so staff time and money, into actually communicating via social media. So by better understanding what they're communicating through these messages, that could help inform future communication strategies for the parks. So that leads into my research question, which is how do national park sites use language and images posted to social media, and specifically Facebook and Instagram, to guide social media viewers' experiences of national parks while also communicating ideas about place. And so to answer this question, I'll be doing a textual and semiotic analysis, so looking for the meanings that are conveyed through language and images that national park sites are posting, also a rhetorical analysis to look at what's persuasively being communicated. And then also I'll likely be doing future interviews with people who are managing social media at the national parks, just to get a better understanding of why they post what they do to social media. So I haven't actually started data collection yet, but I did provide 3 examples from the 3 parks that I'm thinking that I'll likely be choosing. So the first is an Instagram post from Rocky Mountain National Park. And so when I'm looking at images, I'll be looking for what's there. Is it a landscape? Are there people in the photo? What are the people doing, and how that might contribute to meanings about place? But I'll also be looking at text, and so I thought this one was really interesting because it's a park asking people to share their own stories about the park. And so this person is saying, the first national park I've been to and I visited 5 times, I am in awe. Rocky Mountain National Park has such a special place in my heart, and I have a mountain tattoo to commemorate it. And so Acadia similarly is doing the same thing, asking visitors to share their experiences of the park as a place. And so they selected this person's post and shared it to their Instagram. And it says, "My wife and I love visiting national parks. Of all the ones we've been to, Acadia is the only one we've seen twice, and we still want to come back again. We love that Acadia and the island offers a little bit of everything we enjoy and every kind of beautiful vista. So just kind of looking at this preliminarily, I'm seeing that these people are expressing their connection to the park and the fact that they visited it multiple times, and that they express a desire to continue going back to there. And one person has a tattoo of it, and this person is saying, you know, this park has everything we enjoy and all the scenery that we want to see. So I'm really excited to kind of delve deeper into this beyond what I can in a 10-minute presentation. And I just want to end with this post from Great Smoky Mountains National Park, which is basically saying, stop stacking up a bunch of rocks into cairns because salamanders live under those rocks and you're moving their homes. So they're saying, we ask you to be gentle in these natural areas so they can continue to provide inspiration for generations to come. And so this actually caused a lot of comments on this Facebook post. So for example, people like this woman who's saying, are you allowed to swim in the park? I've seen people swimming. I would think that would do more damage than stacking rocks, sunscreens and such that can leach into the water. And so someone from the park actually responded and said, there are many problems facing this park and we try to tackle them with the resources we have. We care about these issues too. Hope you can help us with all these issues to protect your national park for this and future generations to come. And so I thought this was a really nice post to kind of go back to an earlier point that I made, that these parks really have limited resources. As they say, they have many problems and they're trying to solve them with the resources that they do have. But still, someone was taking the time to respond to all of these comments. There were like 40 comments on Facebook, and so they're really investing their resources in it, and I think that just kind of reinforces the relevance of this study. So where I'm going, right now I'm currently working on selecting parks. I'm thinking that the three that I showed you, Rocky Mountain, Acadia, and Great Smoky Mountains will be the three that I choose, but not 100% set in stone. I'm also working on developing a method for sampling so that I can cover January through December of this year and still have enough data to be able to say something, but not be completely buried in data. And then I'll start collecting and analyzing data pretty much as soon as possible. So I want to thank you all for coming out and give a special thank you to my committee, especially my advisor, Pat, who's here. And I will take any questions that you all have. Holden.
So you mentioned, I think it was Yellowstone, 90% of the people that like the page have gone to the park, you said, right?
Yeah.
So I know that it seems like one of the objectives of the parks recently is to have more diverse attendance. Are you going to be looking at how their social media are, I guess, reaching either the intended audiences or the intended goals of that outreach?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think overall their goal is kind of promoting the mission of National Park Service, so I think that will be part of our analysis, but we won't be focusing on like diversity and some of the diversity initiatives specifically. But any other questions? Oh.
Why are you thinking about those three parks? What is it about them that, or what sort of criteria will you use to choose the parks that you're going to focus on?
Yeah, so that's been something that we've been debating a lot, and so I originally had a set of 3 parks because we were thinking maybe a park that has a lot of visitors, a medium amount of visitors, and not a lot of visitors. But I think it really makes more sense to look at the larger parks just because they are more regularly posting to social media and they'll have more data to look at, as well as a lot of comments, and we can analyze the comments and interactions from the parks in that way. So, and also, you know, Acadia, Rocky Mountain, and Great Smokies are regionally in different areas, and so that might lead to different messages that they might be communicating on social media. Alex?
So those are all with the Park Service. Have you thought at all about looking at different agencies? I'd be curious, like how if the Forest Service would have any differences, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Not for this project. I think it would just be like a little bit too much to compare, but I definitely think it is interesting to look at how other agencies are using social media, and it's not something that many people have looked at before either, so it's definitely a gap in research for sure. Nancy?
So it looks like you're kind of focusing, at least from the examples that you gave, more on the
I think we'll be looking at all of the parks comments. So if that comes up, I think we'll be looking at how that might contribute to meanings about the place and what that is saying about, you know, visitors' experiences and stuff. But that's not a specific focus. But any other questions? Sure.
The folks on campus, the complex systems folks who do work on analyzing Twitter feeds, they've been getting a lot of attention. I wonder if there's some overlap in their methods and yours, or if there's an opportunity to collaborate there, or is that a bridge you've crossed yet, or no?
No, I'm actually not really familiar with that
Okay.
at all. So
For getting the main guys' names and studying them.
Peter
Chris
Dodson,
Chandler, yeah.
and Aaron Schwartz, who's a grad student who's done some Twitter analysis of national parks, or Golden Gate State Park.
Right. I was trying to
Yeah.
remember that example, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get it.
They've been really using, you know, computer power to do this kind of analysis, but with the stuff that I don't understand how to do it. But
yeah, I'll be using computer power as well. There's a qualitative software called In Vivo, so I'll be using that, and that can help looking through all of these images. I mean, I'll also be looking at them myself, but it helps to have the software to kind of pull out like themes and similarities and differences. So. Any more questions? Great. Well, thank you all very much.